Welcome back. What we have here is obviously a dead mouse. To be more exact, a Microsoft Habu Razor Mouse. I think these things came out in 2006 and there were, the thing to buy back then. Of course, there were criticisms, but it was a pretty good mouse, believe me. That one was manufactured in March 2007 and I used it for about 15 years before I threw it into the bin. What's actually broken here is not the mouse itself. That seems to be working quite fine, even after 15 years, all the switches. However, a wire inside the cable is broken, so you only get an intermittent connection on your USB port, depending on, how the wire is lying on the desk. And that's an annoyance. And you could repair it. However, that side of the mouse was always oriented to a south side window. And there's actually some of that transparent plastic missing here, and it's basically disintegrating. It's getting really nasty from all the UV damage. And so we will take that thing apart. Enjoy! If I remember right, that side part is removable in itself. I think so. There were replacement parts for that. And there it is. I'm sure there was once a manual, and they had different forms here, to adapt to the form of your hand, different side pieces. And oh wow, look at that. There would have been some screwing involved. Well, anyway. That doesn't really get us any further. Please notice these springs and these three contacts. I see these three contacts here for the three side buttons, thumb buttons here on the side. I'm not quite sure what these springs are for. Probably just mechanical. So let's have a look inside here. So this is really just a little PCB with two tactile switches. Actually two quite beefy tactile switches. Let's move on. I do suspect some screws here below these, glued in. That's there it is. Silicone sliders, probably on the other side too, but they're really a little bit tiny for that. And they feel good. I mean, that was a good mouse. Okay, no screws here. And I don't expect to be a screw there. Maybe it doesn't feel like there's a screw. Maybe that's the only screw. So let's take that thing out. And then we expect the whole thing to come apart, just like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, and there parts are falling out. And it's a little bit sticky with that. Slight detail here. There is a light pipe running here, and that feels silicone-y. And on that side, you can see the difference here in, that's a UV degraded side. And a light pipe is running all the way around, and yeah, we will have a look at that. I guess that contains some RGB LEDs or something. So we have our wheel here, and yeah, it's also lighted by an LED that has nothing to do with the motion detection, but below it here is another micro switch. Can I take that out as a whole? Maybe later. There are two more tactile switches, micro switches down here, and these are actuated by these two thingies, which are coupled to, to these two buttons. And then the two big buttons on the top are coupled to these two micro switches. I hope you keep count. I think these were labeled switches, I don't know, 7 and 6 or 5 and 6. No, 7 and 6. So a lot of switches. Remember we had, that was switch 6 and 7. And now we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, a total of 7 switches. If you don't count, almost forgot about that switch in the back, which is for programming purposes, if I remember right. Was that a switch? I think it was. Oh no, do you know what that's it? What that is? That was... I never did that, but that was the release button for the side part. I didn't have to lever that open. I would just have to, press down here to get the side part out and replace it. Anyway, anything else we can glean from here? Obviously that's the lighting for the sensor, for the actual 2D movement sensor. Yeah, a few electrolyte capacitors thrown around, a smaller capacitor here, a little resistor, and this chip that does everything, I guess, almost everything. So let's try to get that board out here. So we have a big screw. Oh, sorry. Hit the camera on that side. Another big screw on that side. The camera. I'm actually not quite sure if that is holding in anything of interest or if that is just for, that mechanical thing here. Yeah, part of the housing. And yeah, these springs were just mechanical. So why isn't that board coming out? Oh, ferrite core. You have to be compliant. Okay, and nothing else. Back in here, it's made from PC. That PC polycarbonate. Yep. 7. We already knew that. 7. And that's pointing to 3. Yeah, March 2007, I guess. Yeah, that would match up with the March 2007 marking here. Okay. Oh, yeah, we can remove that screw just to be thorough. I have to take that a little bit away from the camera. Sorry. It's also small, so the camera... And now, that button on the bottom comes out. That's it. That's the whole lower part of the housing. Where's my board? Here's my board. Okay, let's get started. So here's our little wheelie, and again, that little LED here was just for illuminating the wheelie. The actual sensor, so push sensor, was on that side, and that's the rotary encoder, which seems to be of a mechanical type, just an incremental rotation encoder. Nothing fancy here. We have, oops, sorry, zooming down. So this little plastic part was just holding down the light pipe onto these two LEDs, which are clearly marked, each one with their connections here. So they have individual connections to the board, each with a resistor. 4 pins here, diode 4, diode 3, minus plus, plus minus. And that's it. I can't remember, so they are not RGB LEDs. I can't really remember the colors, but I guess you could illuminate the exterior of your mouse, a silicon thing, in 2 different colors or something. Yeah. There's a ferrite core around the USB connections, and let's just get rid of that. And that big old thing here, if I can, should be just snapped in or glued in. Can't really decide how it's attached, but it's part of the optical assembly here. That with a little force just comes off. So that was just the that was just the LED illuminating the stuff, and there it goes into the optical sensor, and that's that big whole thing that actually recognizes the movement. And there's a part number on there. Let me see if I can zoom in on that or make it at least visible. Now it's the wrong way around. So that's S6018B0710C. And that's it on the top side. Please note that marking here. It says Tempest version A. That's neither Microsoft nor Razor nor Habu. Tempest version A. Interesting, I was able to find a mouse named Tempest X5S or something, which exactly the same button arrangement and lighting, disco features all around. So I'm expecting that board could be found in other mouses too. Anyway, let's flip that over now and have a look at the back side. Oh, and I almost forgot, there is a 4 megahertz crystal here. So now let's flip over and have a look at the back side. And the first thing I notice is we forgot the switch 8 here at the back side. Another tactile switch. And that was actuated through that hole here in the housing at the bottom. And I think I have, the the plate that plugged that up and was pressing down on this one. And that was for programming purposes or something. A few transistors here and here. And that thing looks a little bit more complex, and a big chip here. And that logo is Freescale SP104553, which is obviously a mouse controller of sorts, and it talks to our sensor here, and it talks back here to our USB data lines. So that's a controller. Also not Microsoft, it's Freescale. Freescale is nowadays, I think, NXP. So yeah, a little disappointing. And that little thing with the marking LORB is a National Semiconductor LP2985IM5X-3.3 low dropout voltage linear 3.3 volt regulator, which is probably supplying that thingy here. So that might run on 5 volt, but supplying some 3.3 volt rail. And that's it for the board. Nothing else going on. I mean, these are probably MOSFETs switching on and off LEDs or something like that. Yeah, especially that one here is switching on the LED or modulating the LED that is illuminating your desktop, so the optical sensor can see where you are moving the mouse. And that one is probably, yeah, also lighting something. I won't trace that out. That's it for today. I mean, interesting how much engineering, you know, in the small details goes into such a high-end gaming mouse. On the other hand, it's quite disappointing that there is absolutely, but maybe for the design of the housing, there's nothing Microsoft specific about it. I mean, even the mouse board that seems to be used in other mouses too. Yeah, the chips are not Microsoft. There is, well, maybe the driver software was Microsoft, or they at least put Microsoft logos everywhere. Yeah, so nothing Microsoft about that Microsoft high-performance gaming mouse, but yeah, it worked well, probably because there was no Microsoft in it. Well, that's an opinion you could have. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.